video, I'm gonna go through these problems. So these are like guaranteed to be on the SAT test. I've seen these type of questions so much in different forms, and it's quadratics, right? Quadratics are can be easy. You can plug into decimals a lot, whatever. But these you can't because there is like another variable, right? So here's x, here's y. But it's important to understand the concept of quadratics to solve these problems or like know what to do. So I'm gonna explain real quick. Like, so this will apply to every single quadratic problem. So you know the weird, you know, uh, quadratic formula, right? So b squared minus 4ac over 2a. I think that's right. But the idea of quadratic formula is that there's two solutions, plus and a minus 1. The reason is because if there is a quadratic and a line, right, there's two intersections, usually. That's why you get two. But sometimes there's no solution if they don't cross. Or there's just one solution, it only touches like once. Right, bad drawing, but anyways, it all comes from the quadratic formula. So what you need to test, so let's say it's 0 in here, right? You're doing a plus and a minus to the same number 0. So your solution is going to be minus b over 2a plus 0, and then minus b minus 0, 2a. Right? So this is when there's one solution, if that thing is 0. Now, if you get this, if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, what do you think will happen? Well, there's a square root. You can't have a negative inside the square root. So this is when there's no solution, right? And then if it's a positive number, then it's a normal case when there's two solutions. So inside the square root, this right here is called I think it's called determinant, something like that. I have to look up what it's called, but anyways, that's the type of, when you see like, no solution, or here there's exactly 1 point, right? That's what they want you to test. And that's really all there is to it. So, and I want you to think about it, right? Don't memorize this, just think about it. In the square root, if it's negative, then there's going to be no solution, imaginary number, right? If it's 0, the reason there's one solution is because, you're adding and subtracting 0, so it's going to be the same thing. That's why there's 1, right? Okay, so let's look at this real quick. And, okay, b is a positive number. The equation has no real solution. Okay, so b squared minus 4ac, so this is like only the thing that's in the square root, is less than 0, right? So what is b here? Well, b is actually labeled b here, so b squared, right? Minus 4, signs are important here. A is minus 1, 4 times minus 1 times c. What is c? Minus 676 is less than 0, right? So b squared, and then so there's minus minus minus, so it's going to be minus, and then whatever this number is, 676, you're going to get a calculator to do that, and then b squared is less than positive of that number, and then you have to square root it. But yeah, that's how you do it, and that's how you get the greatest possible value. Well, let's say b is less than, like, let's say 20, right? Your greatest possible value, because it's a positive integer, it'll have to be 19, right? Because it has to be a greatest number that it can be that's less than 20. I hope that explanation makes sense. It's one of the harder questions, but it's guaranteed to be under. Okay. This question slightly different. There's two equations here. Normally, when you're given two equations, whether it's linear or like this quadratic, the solution is like where they intersect. They don't intersect, then there's no solution, right? So, because they're both equal to y, we can set them equal to each other. 3x plus a, right? And then we're gonna set it equal to 0. We need to set it equal to 0 because that's how you solve quadratics. Okay, 2x squared, and then I'm gonna subtract the 3 minus 24x, right? So plus 64 minus a is equal to 0. Okay, so they exactly at one point. So what do you think we need to do? We need to do that's when this was equal to 0 this time, right? Because there's only one solution instead of two intersections. There's one. Okay. So here's the confusing part though. There's 64 minus a. This whole thing is your c because they are both constant. If it has x, right, then it's b. X squared is a. So this whole thing is your c. So when you do c, you have to plug in both of them. Okay, so b is minus 24. So we're going to square it. So minus 24 squared minus 4. A is 2. C is, like I said, that is equal to 0. Right? Then you solve for A here. But the thing about this question though is that they're asking for x. So after you do that, you have to plug it back in here and then set it equal to again. And you'll be able to solve for A. I'm not really going to go deep into it. I can, but the thing I'm trying to tell you or trying to teach you right now is the concept of this no solution. So hopefully that helped.